I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show everybody's present. We do have a quorum. I believe we have the building permits.
Yeah, King Billy, and then I did it.
Oh, we have, I'd like to get a motion to amend the agenda to add 2 building permits.
I'll make the motion.
They're Kenny Keller and High Desert Housing. Been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda to add 2 building permits for Kenny Keller and High Desert Housing. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed, all in the affirmative. Any communications from citizens? We have you appearing.
Something different.
Just something different,
I
okay.
got voluntold to do this because I was going to be here anyway.
Okay, very good. Please, Mr. Stetler, identify yourself.
Jake Steller. I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that, to the best of my knowledge, the only set of swings we have is over by Travis Park by the rec department. And it's like the town needs some swings. If you go to a park, that's what the kids, the first thing they run to is the swings. And I've tried to get some quotes and this and that. Nobody will talk to me because I'm nobody, which is perfect. But I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that there are programs out there to get some swings, like maybe a 4-place swing over at City Park, Centennial Park, something like that. It'd be pretty minimal cost, and or at the new plaza, or for little kids to do something during an event, something. I just wanted to bring that up, maybe and get some swings in this town for the kids. The rec department does a great job not bashing them, but it's all the way over there, not in the center of town. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate your input. Any other communications from citizens? None being, let's move to the consent agenda. We have a motion. I'll ask you, do we want to do this all in one, or you want to break this out for it? No.
I'm still reading, so
Pardon?
I'm still reading.
Be honest with you, I really wish our council would come more prepared and read before we come here.
I've read it several times.
Okay. Just reading it again, good enough.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda, minutes and bills in its entirety.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Further discussion? Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. To approve the consent agenda. Aye. Opposed? Motion approved, only affirmative. Public hearing, resolution 21-004, revenue and expenditures.
I'll read this one, I guess, in its entirety. Resolution number 21-004, a resolution authorizing the increasing of fiscal year 2022 budget revenues and expenditures for the town of Shoshoni. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni passed a budget resolution for fiscal year 2022, including expected revenues and expenditures. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenue estimates were unknown following congressional passage of the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, and discovery of funds available for reimbursement from a previously awarded grant in fiscal year 2019, CWC 15448, which was applied to the Shoshoni rifle range and not submitted for reimbursement, in addition to a cash donation made to the town of Shoshoni from Wyoming Mushroom Eco Farm. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenues from ARPA are distributed to non-entity entitlement units of government, NEU, in 2 equal direct payments to the town of Shoshoni during fiscal year 2022, and reimbursement of funds from CWC 15448 have been received and the grant closed. And whereas the revenues received exceeded initial estimates of expected distribution of funding and donations made to the town of Shoshoni. And whereas the allocation of the expenditures of ARPA funds are limited to specific items, including infrastructure and medical related expenses. Cash donation to the town of Shoshoni from Wyoming Mushroom Eco Farm made with the intent to be used for development of a sewer line extension. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni authorizes the town treasurer to increase the budgeted revenue for the following line items and in the amount specified commensurate with revenues received in excess of initial budget. 1038-115 American Rescue Act, 11,694.28, and 1038-525 Rifle Range Grant, $3,757.00. 1038-120 Sewer Expansion Donation, $50,000. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni to authorize the town treasurer to increase the following expenditure line items in the amount specified. 1049-981 American Rescue Act, $11,694.28. 1049-946 Rifle Range Grant, $3,757.00. 1049-975 Capital Projects Construction, $50,000.
Can I have a motion to approve resolution 21-004, revenue and expenditures?
I move to pass, approve, and adopt resolution 21-004.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Ankeny, seconded by Councilman Weaver. Any further discussion?
American Rescue Act money, where will it go? To what specific category is my question? What line item?
1049-91, which is American Rescue Act.
That did not answer my question.
That's the, because
Okay, so there's my budget that we passed.
yeah, it's in there. I'll show you.
Okay,
Number 79.
and what would that be spent on?
That was 25,000 was allocated of that to be spent on medical equipment. And then the remaining was originally expected to be spent on radio reads for the infrastructure for the sewer or the water reads.
My question is, did we not raid capital construction for the water buffalo for medical supplies earlier?
No,
You sure on that?
yes,
And where did that money come from?
that was what was awarded from the American Rescue Plan funding.
For some reason, I'm either completely ignorant.
So I believe what you're referring to
Capital
is,
projects, general fund, number 2, line number 245 or 246. We took money out of that fund for medical equipment.
we took allocated $25,000 of the American Rescue Fund monies, and $7,000 was transferred from the general fund capital projects to pay for the dog kennel and the dog bills.
Then we need to re-put, then I'm saying we need to re-put $7,000 back in that fund because you robbed Peter to pay Paul.
Okay? We
That's all
can't
I'm
do-
saying.
We can't do that with this funds. These funds are specific to that. Now, there is $32,000 in excess surplus budget that has not been allocated, that the council wishes to increase that line item. The transfer was done without having to increase any line items because the expenditures weren't actually there yet. If they want to replace that fund with $7,000, I can do that by a simple vote and increase that expenditure. We do have a $32,000 surplus budgeted in.
I'd like to see that done. We have a budget. I'd like to see we stay on that budget.
That's why we transfer the money instead of increase the budget, but we have the flexibility to do so if you wish.
But I'm seeing us going off things that are not in our budget.
The budget is,
That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing us going on things that are not allocated in our budget. Do
we're
you
not
disagree with
doing,
that statement?
I disagree wholeheartedly with that statement.
So tell me how.
I came to council and I said that I requested $7,000 be allocated for the dog kennel and the payment. I said, without having to increase our budget expenditures, we can allocate $7,000 from one line item to another line item without having to actually increase our budget and expenditures, and which is what I requested, which was done. That's not spending on unintended purposes.
Then what good is this?
That is an overall expected budget. It doesn't mean that it can't be changed, modified, which is what this resolution is for.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Put it back in place.
And that's what I explained. The process to do that would be the $32,000 that in the budget was not allocated, which was a surplus of revenues versus expenditures as budgeted. I could have requested council just increase that line item without transferring. I felt it more prudent to do that because the water buffalo was going to be about $100,000. And as I explained during that meeting, the $30,000 was not going to be enough at a general fund to cover that. That was what I explained during that meeting when I asked for the transfer. So instead of increasing our line item until it's actually allocated, I felt it more prudent to ask for a transfer of funds as opposed to an increase of our expenditures. However, if that's what council wants me to do, I can do that with council's approval. We have $32,000 of unbudgeted surplus or unallocated surplus built into our budget for that purpose, if the council wishes me to do that, and that would restore the full $30,000 to that line item.
I'd like to see that happen.
But that's not what this resolution is for right now, so.
But I asked a question, it was in the discussion, he answered my question. Thank you.
Any,
We spoke about the 3757 quite a while ago, you and I. I didn't ask, was that from the NRA? Was that carryover? Or
No, that was actually from SLIB, coincidentally.
all the places?
And it was a grant that was never drawn down in 2019.
So it's not a match or anything, it's.
Nope, that's money that was money that was owed to the town that we never applied for 2 years ago. So I applied for it, we got it. It's in the bank now and.
Or encumbered or whatever?
Nope, it's in the line item back to the expenditure for it, the line item with this resolution increases for rifle range grant, so it'd be for the rifle range.
Sure.
Directly to the rifle range.
I can figure out how to spend that. It's gonna only take you. Thank you.
And just to clarify, everything in here is an offset. For every revenue, there's an offsetting expenditure. It's a zero sum. The other issue that would be taken up by council if they wish.
Sure. I just kind of look at it as a carryover thing, well, other than the 50,000. So.
any further discussion? None being, all in favor to approve resolution 21-05 or 4, revenue and expenditures, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion approved, all in the affirmative. Resolution 21-005, phase 3 water study.
I'll read this one by title only. Resolution number 21-005, a resolution to request funding from the Wyoming Water Development Commission, WWDC, for level 3 funding for the town of Shoshoni, Wyoming. This is a resolution in support of a continuation of the phase 1 water study. The recommendation of Gores was to skip phase 2, which is the planning phase, and go right into the implementation phase. In the council packets, I was requested to put in there the issues that were being addressed in phase 1 that would be looked at in phase 3. By submitting the resolution before September 1st, the filing fee for the town of Shoshoni of $1,000 will be waived, as opposed to if we wait to apply for it, then we'd have to pay the $1,000. But because we're in the midst of the phase 1 water study period, we can go straight to phase 3 without having to pay the fee.
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 21-005.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Ankeny, seconded by Councilman Zan, that we approve resolution 21-005, phase 3 water study. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Building permits. First one, Confidence Builders.
It's for their office.
This for their office on, for the trailer. RV park.
Yeah, but
Yep.
West Fork.
Yep.
I think it's right across from your house.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that. Visitor one with that. I even inspected the premises. I would move that we approve that request, that building permit request.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilman Ankeny, seconded by Councilman Weaver, that we approve building permit for Confidence Builder for their new office. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same.
I need to abstain.
Note to Councilman Zant, abstain from the vote. Motion passed 4-0. Councilman Zant, abstaining. Permits, B, Kenny Keller alcohol consumption permit. And Labor Day weekend, 3rd, 4th, and the 5th, 8 a.m. to 12, I'm assuming a.m. Estimate adults will be consuming 30.
I believe this is for their lot right behind.
Yes.
KT.
I move we issue the permit.
Councilman Zant moved. I can have a second. Second, Councilman Weaver, that we approve the alcohol consumption permit for the Labor Day weekend, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. And we have building permit. And Kenny Keller, moving a building permit, expected date the 10th. 14 by 70. Do we know what year this is? Oh, excuse me. Get them. And a motion to approve, and we'll get into discussion.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Ankeny, seconded by Councilman Weaver to approve, discussion.
Dayton, how old's the trailer?
Doesn't appear to be on the permit.
We can request that when he picks up his permit.
Is there an ordinance requiring a certain time period or something, an age or no? Or
It's got a age, it has something to do with electrical code and stuff that's passed. It's probably something we also need to address
Absolutely.
in our town. That's maybe a little outdated.
See the age.
But on the same token, on the next building where that we get to, they don't have, or high does, they don't have a year on theirs either.
Well, no, there's actually not a year
There's
spot that I can probably add on there.
But I thought there was some form of requirement, something to avoid just anything being drug in, saying, well,
There's an electrical code I think we follow in our zoning, but it's been that way for a lot of years, and probably that's one of our things we need to quite honestly update.
Would you like me to quote it here?
Please, thank you.
So mobile home goes into definition. A mobile home is a single prefabricated structure designated for transport after fabrication on streets and highways, on wheels, chassis, arriving at site where it is occupied as a dwelling. Complete, ready for assembly and operations, located on jacks or permanent foundations, connections and utilities and alike, including all potable contrivances. Used generally for living and sleeping quarters, towed or transported under or by another vehicle, and cannot qualify as a modular building under the Uniform Building Code. A mobile home shall conform to the standard established by the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development pursuant to Section 604 of the National Mobile Home Construction Safety Standards Act of 1974 and any amendments thereto. So it's got to be, you're going to have to make sure that it conforms to, yeah, you'll need the date on that, make sure it conforms to that act. Building code.
Probably newer, 1974.
Hope so.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I was thinking it was 76, but I knew it was back in there sometime. But that code's been updated many times since, but
I can do that.
I'll make an amendment to that for both permits, that they must supply the year of the manufacturer, and have you put it on the form from now on.
Bob made an amendment to that. Can I have a second for that amendment?
Second.
Any further discussion about the amendment?
Clarification, if for some reason this is 1965 trailer, would you wish me to decline issuing the permit until it comes back to council?
In my mind, a 1965 trailer will meet 1974 requirements. I mean, they're not that. They're probably updated every 3 to 5 years. So I think 65 will meet that in 74.
You said you think it'll meet a 74?
Yes, I do.
This is, we need to address on these homes
Yeah.
coming in.
I'm just curious, because I mean, if he does come with that and I put the date on there, then issue it, and find out we're against town ordinance, then it runs
Yeah.
into an issue versus I could make
Who
them come back
verifies if it's
and
in,
verify,
I mean,
yeah.
on any mobile home that gets moved to the town, who verifies that it's in compliance with 1974?
I mean, if it's a 2002, I don't think it's gonna be an issue,
Yeah,
but
you're right. And so
I can
anything
do that.
past that should be
I just
fine.
wanted some kind of stipulation before I actually do formally issue it. If there is, at what point do I draw the line and say, we need to look into this before I can issue it?
Didn't say before 1974. I mean, at least it's an opportunity to say maybe. It's no different than whenever they quit doing lead-based paint or some of these different things. But I think there's also something required in order to get a permit to move a mobile home down the highway. I don't know what that is.
The problem is prior to before this was passed, 75 or 76 of the years, they wouldn't let you move. Some places actually put a date on it. But before 74, they could do less. There was less requirements in the electrical code. That's when they changed the code. That was improvement. So a 1973 or maybe in 73 trailer could be built that would not meet the code of 1974. Don't mean it was, but it could be. And I think we would need an electrician to
Is there
See if
anything
it met code.
on the lot right now? Is there power to the lot? I don't know if anybody knows that. Because if there's not power to the lot, then they would have to apply to the state to get the electrical.
I'm gonna say it is, it's 309 East Fifth. So it'd be off of King and Fifth, right there on the corner.
Yeah, I can't think what it looks like. But if there's existing, they'll already have power. I guess they're not applying for this, they must have power, which means they wouldn't probably have to apply for that permit to the state.
I have no problem getting the date and issuing the permit. I just want to know what the deadline is before I say, okay, you can come back and do some more examination before you can issue this. That's all. I just need clarification.
I would suggest 74 based on so anything that comes to council prior to 74 would take additional either inspection or action or certification or something.
And I will get that added on to future applications too.
was that as clear as mud?
If you got your question answered.
Yeah.
So it seems yes, approve the permit. If it's older than 1974, then I would say we need to come back to the next meeting.
I don't know if you need a motion for that since it's approving it tentatively or not.
I'm lost.
Why don't we have a new motion?
I know at one time that
Kill
we
this.
had a couple of folks that were kind of maybe to look at that. And I looked at one once and I opened it up and the breaker box, it had a updated thing and initial and certified to meet such and such a date. So you can always require the stuff. So it might be pretty easy to just look and see if it meets that code, even if it was made prior to.
Once it's delivered.
Huh.
Once it's delivered.
Well, we've never issued a building permit in retrospect. I know that.
I've seen trailers come that's been inspected by electricians that's certified that they met code.
I'll move to accept whatever the amendment was. That's pretty bush league.
Was the amendment, was the amendment, any trailer house built before 1974 must have certification that it meets that code as in our ordinance. Electrical code is in our ordinance. And if it does, it will continue to issue the permits. If it does not, we'll need certification before we can issue the permit.
That's what I thought I was.
Thing.
Yeah.
And then Chris would be able to do that without bringing it to council again if we so motion that.
That's what I was looking for.
Right.
It's seconded.
That way we can move forward. Yep. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed. Passed, all four in the affirmative.
High Desert.
High Desert is moving in another trailer out to the east end of town where they are putting their rentals out there. They've been bringing in newer trailers, but we'll ask them the same thing if it's older than 74. Any further?
Can we just make it mandatory what they put the year on their permit?
I'm gonna add that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that needs to be on there, so we're not
Right.
wasting a half hour council
You
time.
bet. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Zen approved, Councilman Weaver second. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Approved. Any nays? Excuse me, jumped the gun. No nays approved. All in the affirmative. Trash committee.
I just brought a copy to submit. There's personal remarks as well as the official report. Jake Stetler, member of the committee. So I decided to start this report at the beginning. In mid-2020, Councilman Zentz was starting to push to get hopper disposal owned by his friend Mike Henniger, a contract to haul 6 dumpsters for the town of Shoshoni.
Excuse me. I'm gonna interrupt you. I wanted it simply put out for bid. I did not say anybody's name, just out for bid.
Okay, well, there's some,
So
okay.
you could ring your,
Once again, I said I started out with personal remarks, so I'd like to carry on, please. It was explained that the town of Shoshoni is incorporated, and it has been since, 1906 or something like that. And the mayor is the CEO. That is how it set up many years ago. With the mayor being the CEO, it is within the authority to choose a company to haul 6 dumpsters. As far as I can tell, there is only one good way to control who the mayor uses garbage service, but I'm gonna have to circle back to that one. As 2020 progressed, elections were heating up. As elections were heating up, so were the rumors, gossips, and lies. Things were getting really out of hand over service for 6 dumpsters. In an attempt to stop the mudslinging, truth manipulation, I made the motion and put the matter into committee, which would hopefully stop the unnecessary fight over service for 6 dumpsters. I figured if the election went one way, the matter would likely die, and if it went the other, I wouldn't be around to be involved. I never thought that the third possibility is that the election would go the other way, and I would still have to help sort out the mess. Oh well, I was there when it started, I should help put it to bed. A general summary of the first meeting. This is the actual report of this. The appointed committee consisted of Kathy Blair as the chairman or woman or person, Councilman Zent, as per the original motion, Gary, Mary Lou, and myself. We met on March 30th, 2021. All members were present and we discussed getting bids from various companies for the town's 6 dumpsters. There were some really great ideas and discussions about how we could potentially save the town money on the 6 dumpsters. I mentioned that according to the Mayor Council Handbook distributed by the Wyoming Association of Municipalities, that under the mayoral duties, the executive powers are, quote, unless otherwise provided by statute, the mayor as CEO presides at all the meetings of the governing body and is charged with the supervision of all officers and all the affairs of the city or town. Well, in my mind, the 6 dumpsters in question fell into the affairs of the town category. Certainly the CEO has the authority to decide trash service. It was at this time I explained to Councilman Zent exactly how to force the mayor to use hopper. This is the first circle back. All he had to do was get his buddy or whoever to offer the service a little bit cheaper than was currently being paid. Then set the budget at that amount and the mayor would have no other option. Discussion continued until I pointed out Wyoming Statute 15-1-127. Once again, I'll circle back to that. The end result of the first meeting of the Shoshoni Trash Committee was basically that nothing happened. So it was brought up that the trash committee should investigate options of waste companies entering into a contract with the town to offer a reduced rate for residents. Chairperson Blair sent out emails on the 2nd of August. They apparently were not seen by anyone, and I personally did receive one, but I did not see it until it was too late either. All we know, or after we all knew to watch for an email, a second was sent out on August 12th. The committee was to meet on August 16th with Chairperson Blair, Gary, Mary Lou, and myself. Councilman Zent was aware of the committee meeting, replied with what I would consider a nasty email, and chose not to attend. I have the email, by the way. I forgot the paper one. So it is the official recommendation of the committee by unanimous consent of members present that and I'd like to point out that the committee has only the authority to make a recommendation. The governing body has to make all the decisions. We have no authority except for to investigate things and make a recommendation, which this is the official recommendation. If the town of Shoshoni can enter into a contract with trash companies that would save the residents of the town money, they should do so, provided that the following requirements are met. 1, no company will be excluded from providing trash service in the town. 2, no person, family, or residents will be required to use any company other than that which they choose. 3, that there's a plan in place for late payments, non-payments, etc. 4, that it is set up in a streamlined format, which will cause the smallest amount of extra work for town hall employees as possible. We all agreed that cheaper trash service could play a large role in helping clean up the town and prevent illegal dumping. Once again, I brought up Wyoming Statute 15-127, but by vague reference, and I didn't read it this time. The actual meeting was around 10 minutes, and the BS session was about an hour and 20 minutes. Personally, I feel the need to strongly urge the governing body not enter into any contract with Hopper Metal Disposals or any other business owned by Councilman Dimick. We've seen him talk about and promote his business in most of the council meetings during 2021. During one memorial event, he even said he wasn't a councilman for a few minutes and practically begged for business at the town, which would potentially influence the other councilmen. There's just a second circle back. Chris, I shot you a message. I was wondering, could you pull up Wyoming Statute 15-1-127, please, sir? No qualified member of the governing body of any city or town or any member of that qualified member's immediate family may receive any monetary or other economic benefit from any contract to which the city or town or anyone for its benefit is a party. The obligation on the part of the city or town is void if any contract with any monetary or economic benefit will be received by a qualified member of the governing body or his family who does not comply with subsection B of this section. Any money paid on that contract may be recovered by city, town, for any persons by an action brought in the name of the city or town. So basically it says, if we did do a contract with Hopper, by this statute, the town would have to get the money back and it would be an illegal contract unless subsection B is followed. So B, section A of this section does not apply to any qualified member of the governing body or any member of that qualified member's immediate family who may receive any monetary or other economic benefit from any contract made by the governing body if the qualified member complies with the following. Qualified A, shall not participate in the consideration or discussion relating to the contract. Shall not attempt to influence the other members of the governing body in any way relating to the contract. Shall reveal the nature and extent of any monetary or economic benefit he or any member of the immediate family may receive to the other members of the governing body prior to the consideration of the contract. Shall not vote in the matter granting the contract. Shall be absent himself during the consideration, discussion, and vote of the contract. Shall not act directly or indirectly for the governing body in an inspection operation, which doesn't really apply to this one. The governing body by ordinance shall prescribe requirements governing conflicts of interest by any employee and its members of his immediate family, procedures by which any employee and any member of his immediate family may be exempt from those requirements. No qualified member of the governing body, office of or employee may receive any pay or perquisites from the city other than a salary, which is more about tickets to ball games and stuff, which doesn't overly apply. So, in my opinion, this statute would make any contract with Hopper illegal due to the actions in previous council meetings, which I pointed out in the first committee meeting. That's why everything was dropped. So, Mr. Mayor, council, yes. I feel as though the Shoshone Garbage Committee has fulfilled its obligations. I respectfully request that it be dissolved. If you feel the need to keep it viable, I respectfully request that I be relieved of my position on it.
Thank you. So, well, I believe the recommendation that we consider the town consider looking at checking with the citizens and see if they would be interested if for the city to negotiate a rate from trash haulers, run the billing through the town. It would be up to each individual to choose who they would use, but the town could negotiate a rate representing whoever wants to sign up for company A, whoever wants to sign company B, and try to see if we can't get a better rate by doing that than each person does individually. Something, correct me if I'm wrong, something like choice gas, where the citizens can sign up for choice gas and save money. I will. That addresses that part of it, and the other is the six dumpsters, which is we had a proposal, but I haven't put that same proposal out to any other companies. And I believe the town may be under contract with Wyoming Waste for the 6 dumpsters we have. So I believe we may have our hands tied at this moment with those. Comments?
I can't.
Yeah, comments?
No, I was under the impression it's been a while, 6 months. Mindy came in and gave a sales pitch with some options, such as rollout containers and some other things. And that the committee was going to look at those. And then we also tabled that and made the promise, it's in the minutes, that we would act on that proposal after we got the report back from the trash committee.
The trash committee was instructed to look at all options, and I believe that's what they did. But for the citizens, but if we're already under contractors it probably makes it null. And also I believe that does follow the day-to-day operations of the town.
Budgetary. I want to just go ahead and address the white elephant in the room. I thought we got a pretty good butt chewing from Mr. Widener, and we were all going to try to get together. And now here we are going clear back to the heated debates, the lies, the inflammatory crap clear back from before I even filed for office. And I mean, do we have a contract? Are we going to blacklist Mike Demick in perpetuity? Or and how long does our contract go with Wyoming Waste? I mean, I understand conflict of interest. I get that. I understand that full well. But there's businessmen or members of governing bodies all across the United States. And they excuse themselves and they do business with the governing body. I mean, are we just gonna?
No, and you can, especially with a small community, you can't get away. You can't get away from that. Councilman Demick being part of this council would not preclude him from doing business with the town of Shoshoni.
Okay, the personal remark is don't do business with Mike. It's the committee's position.
I can't answer for the, I can read to look at all, I don't know how many trash hauling companies we have in our area, but I believe it said all of them. I believe Jake may have brought up, he questioned some legalities and maybe we can have our attorney look into that or address that or do some research on it and see where we're at that. I don't know if what Mike has discussed in his business in the council has excluded him from doing from that or not, to be honest with you. I'm not an attorney.
Sure.
So,
I mean,
but I'm saying a councilman, that doesn't exclude a councilman from able to do business, but there's certain
sure.
things you got to follow. Yeah,
We
right.
just have it.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Right.
guess the bottom line is if something's drawn up to, that word escapes me as far as like what choice gas what we're in, where people can opt in, opt out, not do it, whatever, and you get an agreement from them. But I mean,
We can save our citizens some money.
yeah, is Hopper Metals going to be allowed to bid on that? That's my question.
And
Yeah.
I'd probably ask our attorney to review that and see.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Sure.
'Cause I don't know.
I'm good with that.
You know, I don't know. I do know someone that's a councilman. Water should not be excluded because you can't do, you know, as long as you do
I
everything
think we all
properly.
know an attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So just because yeah, you're right. Just because he's a council member doesn't preclude him from there to have to do certain acts trying to influence the council towards a certain contract. So we have to look at everything on that. As far as the budgetary item, I have gone over this. We went over this regarding the skid steer. So there's 3 requirements for it to have to go out to bid. Okay. It's a bond, goes to a bondable project, that it's not for maintenance, emergency, or your firefighters, paramedics, or professional services, and it's over $35,000. If it doesn't meet those 3 requirements, it doesn't have to go out for bid. Now, that's not saying that it shouldn't, right? I'm saying the way the statutes are written, that's where that sits at.
I was, from that, it sounded like one of the recommendations was for the town clerk to do some sort of billing through the town at a negotiated rate that the citizens can decide who they want, irrespective of any contract with the town itself. And the town just negotiates the price. I'm trying to paraphrase with that, but that's what I believe. There's two different things in that whole. That was one for the towns or the citizens trash service versus the trash service for the town specifically. So I don't know if
Yeah, two separate
deals.
Sure.
And so I don't think that, I'm not sure if that would preclude anyone from doing business with citizens, even if the town negotiated a rate and they could choose whoever they want, whatever the rate was, what the rate was, and they could just incorporate it at a cheaper rate or something to that effect.
Yes.
That's true.
If we did the billing,
I'm with you.
and then the other issue was specifically with the town's trashes and out of a contract with just
Two
the
different
town.
issues.
So
Two different, yes.
So
The
you would-
town then-
Oh, sorry.
Charge a maintenance fee as they bill the town citizens. Say my trash fee is $50 a month. Would the town then say add another $5 for maintenance fee for their clerk's time?
I think it would be,
I mean, that needs to be explored.
I mean,
Or $1.
I'm just using numbers.
I don't know if that would make it cheaper if the town did the billing and then paid trash service A, trash service B, whatever their customers were, like, I don't know.
But it could be appealing to a trash service company to negotiate that and work with the town on something like that, where we might get a reduced rate for all the citizens. The town might be able to, or should probably cover expenses for their clerk, or if the town decides not to provide a service, but it's whatever. And look at streamlining the billing, be something similar to a water bill, is what it would turn into, but it might be worth, might be able to save some money on the trash haul.
I believe just from the reading that, sorry.
Would we have, would you like to shed some light on what we're talking about?
Linda, helping me in here.
Could you please speak and identify yourself?
Boss over there.
My name is Bruce Levin. I'm the district manager for Wyoming Waste, the state of Wyoming. And we do some small towns such as your size, and we provide a rate to our customers or to the typically say, but we have a town that's pretty much the same size as you guys. We charge a particular rate to them. They turn around, they do the billing, and they charge the customers, I think it's about $2.50 for that fee. It's still cheaper for them, but in the long run, truthfully, I don't know if Mike would agree, but you guys don't want to be collecting, maybe when you have the water, it's an easy way to collect, but unfortunately the garbage bill is the last one paid every day. I mean, it's the last bill that you pay. So like in my collections, there's a huge, and I don't know what Mike has, but collections is huge. Does the city really want to absorb that? I mean, they could shut off the water, but sometimes it's better for us to do the billing, take care of the complaints and things like that than it is for you guys to add all this stuff for very little money. So, and just on the 6 containers, there's a contract till 11/8/2022 with this town of Shoshoni, with Wyoming Waste.
Thank you.
It's an easy question. So, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
so as you said, with gas, it's essentially the town would be, I'm going to use the word brokering, just getting the best deal we can from different vendors and say, there it is.
Sure.
That's the best we can do, and let folks have the option of participating in that.
Well, that was something they brought. I read Bruce, he's not suggesting we do that.
Well, we don't bill though.
Yeah.
Not bill.
But negotiate a
Well, I agree
rate.
with that.
Negotiate a
There's
rate.
a couple of ways you guys can do that is, I mean, Mike's done this before too, so I guess we work together in a lot of things. Unfortunately, we're competitors, or fortunately competitors, so we keep each other honest. But anyways, we'll just say 50 years in this industry says that smaller towns have a hard time collecting the cash. It's sometimes easier to put it out to an RFP. One vendor does everything. To put it out for two vendors, you're actually going to look at if one's, we'll say, $25 and one's $24, 9 out of 10 people, maybe service is better if the 25, maybe it's not, but you almost got to have, the price needs to be the same. And that's called collusion. You can't get into price fixing there. So my recommendation to this council would be to, if they want to put it out for an RFP to one or the other company, or mandatory that each customer has service and they can choose which vendor to use. And the billing should go through Mike, at least my opinion, through Mike or I. It saves you guys some money, because in this one town that I'm, particular town, there's a little, we know what they pay, because I had to, it's public knowledge what my proposal was. So town people read it. They're going, well, we're paying $2.50 more. Where's that extra $2? Trying to explain that, this is where it goes. Doesn't always work with the customers. So just a suggestion.
As a person who has had their service discontinued by Hopper Disposal, I can tell you that the vendors should probably do their own billing. Okay, to your wife.
The only thing I would add to that the city has more leverage on collecting a bill than either one of the.
Well, when you shut the water off, you do.
That it costs money,
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, appreciate your advice. And
So what happened to Mindy McGee's proposal that she brought to council?
we're under contract for over another year right now with Wyoming Waste. Thought that was just explained.
It was.
Okay.
I just needed to make sure it's clarified.
And to be proper, Mindy should have brought that proposal to me, not to the council. You can laugh, Mike, but that's a fact.
I can't participate in this conversation.
Okay. Anything else on the trash committee's report? Does the town council have any desires to, is there any of the suggestions, put anything out for bid, or want to kick it around, what they're suggesting, or just move forward?
I think we owe it to, anytime we have a committee, we owe it to a committee for them to be heard. If their wishes are that we should investigate getting the best rate we can, I think we owe it to the committee to do that.
Yeah, I do too.
Official, don't forget no company will be excluded from providing trash service in town.
That was the,
The committee recommendation. No person or family resident is required to use any company other than which they choose. And then so on and so on. That's, I mean, that was the official.
that was the recommendation.
The committee does want us to look into the
Right.
rescue.
That was the official recommendation by unanimous consent of members present.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
That sounds like a job for the mayor or the clerk.
Sorry, Chris.
And as far as you guys are going about billing and all that, there were concerns, I guess. There were concerns about billing and payment matters. And that's why it's like, well, that's why I came up with that there's a plan in place for this. Whatever you can negotiate, but there should be a plan in place. That's how it's left. And as far as the town doing the billing and all that, it was just that whatever's got to be done, as a recommendation, to make it streamlined and easy on the girls. It was pretty vague. Except for the don't lose any service. It was pretty important that every company in town that we need every company to stay in town. That's a big committee recommendation.
Okay. And make sure we don't confuse the two, those two separate issues. Okay. We'll look into it. And move on, no other communication about that. Unfinished business, town property, realtor. Bob, you said you wanted to bring that up in the meeting?
Met with three individuals representing Home Source, Sun Realty, is that?
Home Source, yes,
And Sun Realty.
yes, and Remax. Yeah.
Home Source offered if they could sell it in-house, which meant not an outside agent in, they would charge 6%. Or I'm saying 3%.
That was Sun Realty.
No, that was Home Source, according to my notes.
It was Sun Realty, by my notes.
I think we have a committee investigate this.
I have for Home Source, the lady. My notes, I don't have it with me.
I got my notes.
The other said 6% across the board. They all have the same basic services from Zillow to, IBDX, whatever they got is, to Remax's nationwide stuff. So it's all the same. I mean, so I thought Home Source, according to my notes, said 3% if they could sell it in-house.
Bob, you were correct.
Glad you came prepared.
You're correct.
That's my recommendation. You have $1 million building, that saves you 30,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it mean in-house as far as they bring someone to the table?
Yes, they bring their client, they're going just through them, not like Remax or something like that. So it'd be two different agencies working. So Remax and Home Source.
Does Home Source going to, so they'll be the listing agent.
Correct.
And if somebody else brings,
The client in, then it goes to 6%.
so there's, oh my gosh.
That, and if someone else comes in, what they have to do, they'll share a realtor, so if somebody else comes in, they gotta give 3% to another realtor, they keep 3%. I forgot to bring these out with me, but yes. Yeah, I agree with that. That was my,
So we reached consensus, that'd be the way to go.
yes,
My recommendation is to go to Home Source.
We do that.
yeah, no, we potential to save quite a bit of money. Yep. Been moved that we approve, if you authorize me to sign a contract with Home Source Realty to list our properties.
Exactly what I said.
Can I, and Ron Anthony made that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded by Bo Weaver. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, all in the affirmative. Okay, first up, we have a new business change order, Dave's Asphalt. We had a overreach on our asphalt. Part of that was to do with,
The tie-in to First Street.
Right.
Where they had to dig down and then branch it out and tie it in, because there was some pre-existing, whatever used to be there when it was first built, they were unaware of, so it required more hot mix.
I don't remember, was that a bid or time and materials, or how did
no,
that?
that was a bid.
Oh, yeah, because of the.
Yeah, it was a
I
bid,
wasn't sure what the overage was.
but even with this, it's less than considerably less than the second highest bidder.
Oh, yeah.
When they did the original bid, they were unaware of that First Street tie-in and the concrete they had to pull out that was buried. And then they had to rebuild the asphalt and then bring in more hot mix to fill in the gaps.
So this is an overage for unforeseen circumstances.
Yes.
Yes.
So did they use any of the town's equipment?
I'm aware.
Just asking.
Actually, they did, but they didn't operate it. They used it as a dumpster. I thought they were operating it, but I visited with Buddy because I was going to harass him when I saw the town truck down there, and they just parked it there and they threw something in it, and it made it so in the bid and everything, they wouldn't have to mobilize another piece of equipment. And it seemed like it was a good idea at the time. But they didn't operate it, they just filled it up, and then Mike Hughes took it down to somewhere.
I'm glad Buddy has that discretion.
Pardon me?
I'm glad Buddy has that discretion.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Approve the change order, Dave's Asphalt, in the amount of, I can't read it, $5,083.
No motion.
Oh, we don't have a motion?
I mean, well,
I thought we
I
did.
don't know how this works.
That was for the
Oh, okay.
realtor.
Yeah, we're good to go on this. then.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Councilman Weaver made the motion to approve the change order for Dave's Asphalt for $5,083. Have a second.
I'll second that.
We have moved and seconded. Now, do we have any more discussion?
They've already paid the 45,000.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm doing legally, I mean, this is how things.
Yeah, you have to motion to approve before you can vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I mean, as far as if a bid, if you have an overreach on a bid.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to discuss and approve whether you're gonna pay
Yeah,
it.
I knew that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, yeah.
I knew that, but as far as the services received.
Mhm. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Approving the change order for Dave's Asphalt, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Plan 1 architect, phase 2. We're actually gonna be meeting tomorrow morning with phase one with, Plan One Architect. They're gonna show us a rough draft of phase one that they've just about completed. They're just gonna review it and be done. I personally I think the town should move forward on development phase two. As I think to get prepared to be a little more further down the line if we want to move forward later this winter or in the spring to move on our construction. That way we're a step closer. We're seeing building materials stuff going down, and we're having more issues with our current town hall where we're at. And I guess it comes to a point, how much more money do we want to sink into town hall here to stay here? So I'd like to get a motion to go to the design and development phase. Phase two, that's $11,000 at 20% of the project. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Been moved by Councilman Ankeny, seconded by Councilman Weaver. Discussion.
This will come out of ARPA funds.
No.
Where will it come out?
So this where it can come out of the general project fund, which would be either utilize what's in there budgeted currently or use the surplus that has not been allocated and increase that line item we talked about earlier in regards to the general construction fund. So I can either use that line item as it exists, or if you want to maintain it, using the surplus to increase it.
Take it out of surplus. You have 32,000 there, you said?
Correct.
Take it out of surplus.
I need authorization to increase the line item expenditure.
I move that we allocate $11,000 out of surplus fund for design development for second phase.
The general project fund.
We've already got a motion on the floor.
Yeah, we didn't finish that one up yet.
Okay.
We already have a-
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I didn't think to call and ask. This is where they're actually put pen to paper, so to speak, in earnest, as far as coming up with the designs. Is what that's about.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not locked into anything, we just do a lot of fun.
No, yeah,
They're just fine tuning phase one.
What
Essentially.
was the schematic? What is that? What was schematic design?
It'll be an outline of the rooms, the building, with a floor plan, if
That
you
was
will.
providing tomorrow at the meeting? Or we already
He's
changed it?
he's gonna bring that by in the morning. I believe it's still in draft, and see is what we've talked about, if that's what we got there. He's gonna be coming through town in the morning and showing us that. But that's the floor plan. And that's what, we broke this down in increments so we can address each increment. And it doesn't commit us to the next phase either, but we can move on one piece at a time. That's what we voted on to decide to do. So we move forward on this and then we can make another motion on how to fund it. If we move forward. Question's been called for. No further discussion. All in favor of moving forward on phase 2, the design development phase for $11,000, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. All in the affirmative.
Then I'll make a motion that we take from the general administration fund the surplus
Unallocated.
unallocated, $11,000 out of the $32,000 that exists in that account to pay for this second phase of design development.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved that we take $11,000 out of the $32,000 we have in unallocated funds and move it to this general projects fund. Any further, been moved and seconded? Any further discussion?
A real simple question. Is that the best way to handle that? Or does that cause you any indigestion? Chris, is it good to go that way?
I mean, just from my perspective, I like to get to the point where we need to increase it before we have to. Then just, that's why before with that, it's just moving a line item and funding it. We're not to the point even close where we need to increase any budgets now, but it's totally fine to do so. But that's just my personal preference from my perspective, because we don't have to spend it. You know, why increase it until we get to that point? But this increases it that way, so that money, original money, still is available for another project without having to increase it down the road. So it works.
It works.
It just gives us less flexibility down the road. If there's other line items that come up that we need to increase from, we have less money to pull from. And then I have to get into start transferring money from line item to line item. So that's why I do it this way, or prefer to do it this way, but we're not in a position where that's, so either way is fine. And we're not in a position that's going to compromise that ability down the road yet. Best explanation I got.
Let us know when we get to yet.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye as was quoted on the motion. Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Anybody have anything for the round table like to add? Anything?
I got something I gotta read. Main Street, Shoshoni. History of historical buildings, September 11th, 2021, downtown Shoshoni area. Take a tour of historical area of Shoshoni. Presentation of Shoshoni history by Lois Herbst. 10 a.m. Meet at the Shoshoni Senior Center. Lunch is provided. Please RSVP to Kathy Blair. It's sponsored by the Fremont County Historical Preservation and the Riverton Museum. Flyer here. We'll get one up there, but I don't know if this was just presented to me today, so I don't have any more information on it, but that's what it is, and we'll get a copy up there, and as more information comes, we'll lay that out. But they could have got a better person than Lois Herbst to do that. So that makes me happy on that one. I've been over her house and chatted about her local history, and she's got a lot of history up in that head of hers. Holy cow. She'll sit there and she'll look at a new history book, and then she'll break out a book that was before that contradicts the heck out of what the new history says. So it's kind of funny. You got a politically correct history and how it really is. So anyways, that's all I got.
It's,
Is there going to be conflict? I know the senior center is closed for lunches now.
I don't know anything on that.
I just,
It's a good question. I really
so we
don't
need
know.
to be aware of that. Might have an outside picnic.
What was the date again?
September 11th.
September 11th. 911.
That's all I have.
Anybody, anything else? As did none being, did everybody get I sent out word about the signs that we can potentially get. Anybody have any thoughts on those, on a sign? I'll tell you, I'll bring Wind River Visitors Council has a CARES Act grant for $120,000 that they're trying to figure out what to do with it. They came up with the idea of having signs in 3 communities. So that would allow each community $40,000. The sign companies are requesting that the electric be ran. So in that 40,000, also the power's got to be provided. So I looked at a site on the west end of town near where we have our medical wellness center. Coming in on the west end of town, yeah, pretty good. The sign the digital part's about 4 foot by 8 foot, I believe. Pretty good sized sign with about a 2 foot by 8 foot that would have like, welcome to Shoshoni. It's there all the time, and it's 2-sided sign, so it's got that on both sides. But the 4 foot would be a digital sign that you can put a bucking horse on it if you want. You can put messages and stuff like that. This is CARES Act funding, so if there's any update in COVID cases, at least through, for a while, that would also be required to be put up there. I was told at our discretion, but they will expect some of that. It's funded by the Wind River Visitors Council, so that's basically Fremont County. So, they would like us to plug Riverton somewhat, and Du Bois and Lander, and everything else. And then, of course, mention our events we have on. If we have a rodeo, we have a car show, whatever we got going on, we also put that there also. The kicker will be what costs the town money. Well, the electric bill, and else I can talk Wind River Visitors Council to pay that. I know the one company said that'd be about, when they had a kilowatt hour, whatever, it's about 27 bucks a month, they figured. I talked with electrician Terry Betts. He says those signs don't draw a lot, so that so we can talk. I'm gonna have a meeting, be in a meeting Thursday with them, and I'm gonna bring that up, but it could cost us an electric bill. Everything else will be paid for out of this grant. The sign and the installation of the power.
We could also use it for like rooting on our sports teams at the school, like Wrangler football, Go Wranglers.
Oh, yeah.
Volleyball.
And these are
basketball and everything else, the wrestling. That would be good. So
they can even have guys shooting basketball
yeah,
on it. They're pretty
that would be good because they're showing support for our youth.
Yeah. But there, I will mention that we could end up with an electric bill, 25, 30 bucks a month or something like that. So, but originally we weren't going to get one, but I spoke up, and Riverton decided they didn't need one as bad. And in fact, I even told them that we have more traffic than Riverton. They said in that visit council meeting that they put them where the most traffic, most need, and it kind of got me upset. So I gave them my 2 cents worth. But anyway, but if we're going to move forward on that, I got to let the business council know. They're gonna put it out for bid. And they need to be acting fast. No money will go through the town. They'll put it out for bid. They'll pay for it. We just gotta say we'll accept it. And the design, there was, several different designs that try to.
Well, if you answered the question I had, because in
Okay.
the correspondence, they were talking about who's gonna buy and put it out for bid, all that stuff. So
Yeah, they're gonna, that decision has just been made on how that was gonna handle, but they are gonna handle that. And they're gonna put it out, they're gonna handle the whole thing. We just gotta say nay or yay if we want it. And I even suggested if one of the communities decide they don't want it, well, instead of a $40,000 sign, do we get a $60 sign? Dollar sign, or maybe Hudson wants a sign, I don't know.
Sure. I noticed that one of them and all the main entrances into the county.
Yeah,
And we are the first entrance is what I should
from the
say.
east, and I brought that out to them when they excluded us.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of made me mad, and I'll be honest, Gary Wise was at that meeting, and he chirped up and also chipped in, but
They didn't share that part of the story.
yeah, but anyway, yeah, I was a little upset that they were excluding us without at least asking us or talking about it, but.
So I make a motion.
I have a question for
Discuss it. Oh, go ahead.
Maintenance. Will that, because is the sign being given to the town, or will Wind River's Visitor Center keep possession of the sign?
I believe it's gonna be,
So, that's my
we could
question.
have maintenance, yes.
We will have maintenance.
I would say yes.
Okay, so
My understanding, yes.
I'm just thinking, I don't know what those things cost or,
Showing, they've got a bid estimate that he'd sent to us ranging between 28 and 33,000.
they should have a plexiglass front on them, hopefully.
I see what you're saying, for the hoodlum that drives by and throws their beer at the sign, does the town get to pay to repair?
That's it,
Or you have insurance.
Well, vandalism. I mean, you've had equipment in your place vandalized. So I'm just asking maintenance.
So insurance will cover that?
Or LGLP would, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I believe the town's getting some pretty good value out of it.
I agree with you. I just had
So-
more questions.
No, yeah, we could, we could if it was vandalized. I don't know the life expectancy. I'm assuming we're not signing any contract we're gonna guarantee to have it running for the next 20 years, but it may run the next 20 years.
Is YDOT involved in this at all? Or just,
No,
it goes on town property?
yes. Anyway, that's what I'm suggesting.
I have no problem with that. I just.
Yeah.
So are we pretty far into town yet? So people wearing 63 will be able to read it?
Well,
You're welcome.
we were sitting there with our lights on, two of us, and a car still passed us speeding. So I don't know how.
You're welcome.
You could put a speed trap on the sign as they,
Yeah, that'd be something to put up
I
there.
take offense to that, sir.
welcome to Shoshone. If they get pulled over, you can go from your, whatever it is, down to 35. You can decrease your grace period or whatever. We told you right up front.
Yeah, I don't think someone speeding in town 45 is a speed trap.
I get what you're saying. They'll put it out there. Must be doing 30, so get in town. And we're no more discounts.
But it's,
Well, I would make a motion that we accept the sign from the Visitors Council.
I'll second.
Do we need to say anything in there about including the bill or just?
no, I'm,
Because we
yeah.
had the one up at school and it was, couldn't even notice the difference.
Mhm.
It's been up there 10 years at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't had to do a thing to it.
So I got a motion, or Wind River Visitors Council by Ron Ankney. Do I got a second? And Bo Weaver had a second. So no further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Oh. Round table, I can't have them.
No motion on.
I can't, yeah, we can, just give me we can't have a motion, round table. We can't. It's an actionable item. We can't do an actionable item in round table. I do believe. Is that correct? Or can I?
I'd have to look that up, but I mean, it's up to how you guys set up your meetings.
Okay, I'll go back to
Well,
12.
I think originally I was gonna ask your permission to move forward, was what I think I was originally gonna do.
Oh, let's do that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was originally, and I got carried away.
We'll just do that formally then. Just
Yeah.
move forward on this, the same thing.
Because we're not spending any money, so we don't.
We're gonna do what we just did.
Make a motion, then motion.
We can't make a motion.
I know, I'm teasing, I'm teasing.
Non-forcible, so.
Yeah.
Come on.
Didn't happen.
Take on the-
I'm just, I'm thinking that falls in there, the end of the, some people call it round table, some people call it other things on the end of the council, end of your meetings, and they're not supposed to be motions done. My mistake. But I have the council's blessing to move forward in any event.
Yes, you do.
If Marshall decides that was a legal motion, then we have a motion, but I suspect it's not. But maybe it is. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong today. Well, would it be? Huh?
No. You guys, no, it's not illegal.
Okay. That's what I thought.
For a motion.
It's not a motion.
Okay.
Yep, I just. 2020 census, everybody see our population, 471.
I thought it was 464. I thought, whatever.
You mean 644 or what?
644.
That's what we were. That's what the state has us.
We're 649.
Yeah, the official 2020 census were 471.
I read some pretty sharp remarks about various people about the difference.
So that was a drop in population of 178 souls people. So we're still, when I read that last Sunday's paper, first thing I did, 7:30-ish or a little before, I called the Census Bureau and see if that number was a real number, and found out it was a real number. And I said, well, I've looked at all through the data, I get census reports, and I'm unable to find that number. And they said, well, it's pretty technical, so that left me out. But it's in there if you knew how to search for it, because it's in their stuff. They gave me stuff to look at, and I'd already looked at it. But anyway, that is the number. And so we're moving forward on seeing what that's going to mean to us. The state had their state's estimate last year, was that 644?
No, our 2021 estimate 633.
633 now, yeah.
And after our half hour long conversation with the regional director in Texas about this, I would agree with what they said. Apparently it is very technical counting people. It's not, but they botched it.
And admitted it.
And they said there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, that was the remark.
I know
What
what-
I was trying to politically say is to question the accuracy of whether they were in ballpark the first go around.
They even admitted they'll just go around the neighbors and say, how many people live in that house? I don't know, 1, 2, if they even answer the door. I'm serious. It's real sophisticated and technical stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But they're
They can't hear you.
They do allow something they never used to do. If you have an RV park or motels and stuff, you're allowed to see if you missed any people in any of them. And there was in December, January, there was an appeal process. They could not officially change anything, but change our estimate.
Yeah, so in January, we will apply for I can't remember the acronym off the top of my head, but I will email this information tomorrow. But we will apply for the Desert Motel, the RV park across behind it, as well as the new RV park. And that will reconfigure what our estimate of population is based on their sophisticated technology they use. But it won't affect our actual census count, which is 471. We are stuck with that until 2025. And then we can ask for a recount, and they will recount and at that point, readjust our census mid-decade is the only time we can actually do anything about it.
But we got to pay for that.
And yes.
At the mid, the one in 2025, we'd have to pay for that recount. But
So does this dip in numbers just carry effects with grants and such?
So,
state?
I don't believe that's going to affect us this budget year. I believe most of our stuff is tied to the estimates, which would be 633. But I have to get some confirmation from the state on when that will take effect, whether it's this year, next year, immediately, and which number they're going to use. And I will definitely let the council know on that, because that would require some adjusting. But as of right now, I don't believe there's any issue.
I know it doesn't help from when we did that number, but I can say this is a few days old, but we've got 18 new high school students this year and 14 in the elementary, and that's not today's information. We've also got new families and teachers living in town with kids and everything else. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That's pretty good for our school to get those numbers like that.
I believe the 633 is obviously probably a lot more accurate than the 471. But other than a pride thing, I think we're stuck with that for a while.
that's our lowest census count since 1940. But anyway, we're gonna work on that, work with the state, and see how that affects us with it. Doesn't hurt us for grants, but it could hurt us other ways. For grants and stuff like that, that doesn't hurt us, but it can hurt us, or I don't think it will hurt us, but it could hurt us in other ways. We gotta work with the state.
I'll have all that information on the quarterly financial update. I'll include all that. What, if any, impact, what it is going to be then, and when it will be.
Well, did it change the economic picture of the town such that the median income decreased significantly to go back to 80-20 instead of 50-50 on grants?
Good question.
I'm just looking at other windows.
I've definitely seen the glass half full. I don't know.
Isn't that in the census report?
Yeah, I don't know if
Shows the
that,
median income.
Yeah.
and I'd have to look to see exactly what that is and how it stacks up. I know that right now, we already are rule, or you talking state grants or?
Yeah.
Okay.
State grants, they're 50-50, aren't they? We're in that category right now, pretty much.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Okay.
I'll look into it.
So I'm just saying, look at another window.
Chris and I met with them, had our discussion this morning, and that's what we found. But I think this also points out, why we need to be supporting economic development in this town. I mean, we need, and housing is a big part of, if you don't have housing, we can't bring businesses here if businesses don't have housing for their employees, it causes a problem. It's much easier. We have housing for fast lane employees, for employees out at Wyoming Mushrooms. We need housing, and we need to support that growth. It's if we don't, without housing, we can't promote economic development. So we need to support housing. That would have more, help us with our water bill. We have more people, costs us about the same amount of money to run our water as it does Du Bois. They got 2 wells, we got 4, and they got twice the population. So they got twice the water hookups, paying a lot more money. We need to continue on with that. I'm still pretty upset with what transpired in our last meeting over our applying for the grant, why that turned into such a long issue. It just, if I don't understand if we had issues with our application as was brought up. I don't know why someone didn't come to me, Mayor, we have issues with this. We need to address this.
Well, excuse me, isn't that what public comment's for?
Why hold on to it that long?
Why?
Well, I'm just asking, answer my question. Isn't that what public comment's for?
But I'm saying,
So
why
you're telling you don't want people to express their opinion?
I think the proper way, Councilman Zan, if you would have came to me and said, we have problems with this, what can we do to fix this so we don't kill this project, we can move forward? As it was found, as we went with Elena Zempel, and I passed that information to everybody, there was nothing wrong with that.
And when did I get that information? Friday before council meeting? The resolutions printed out?
Pardon?
I got that information Friday
Last Friday?
before council meeting,
No, last Friday?
a week ago, previous Friday before. I got it on the 6th. The resolutions. And
If you seen something wrong, why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you say,
one question, don't I have time to research?
well,
So you're cutting me off.
did you have time? You're telling me you didn't have it researched before the meeting?
I did. That's why we have public comment.
That's served no good for the town. That's what I'm getting at.
I'm saying
tired
it's good.
of people fighting against this town. I'm fed up with it.
Hey, the only thing I
I-
wanted was the paperwork done properly. That was it.
And we did them properly.
The next day,
No, they were done properly. That-
according to your letter, you met with Elena and you revised and cut those and had them properly done. That was
No.
the following day.
No, she reviewed them. There was nothing wrong.
I'll have to reread your letter.
There was nothing wrong with them. We did them. There was no issues. We followed her instructions as Chris and I said we did. This is, and I just, why would we chance to get $1 million, possibly $1 million over infrastructure with very little or no cost to the town. And you didn't believe it was it didn't fit economic development. We're just in the planning stage. And as I said many times, if it is not correct, and if it doesn't meet the guidelines, they will turn it down. It isn't up to us. It's up to us to do our best job we can to apply for it. And then move forward. If they find does not meet their criteria, then they would turn the darn thing down. We did as we were instructed. We followed the instructions and we filled it out as we were told to do. And that's what we did. We didn't have to alter any issues that you against any ordinance or state statute you brought up. There was nothing that we altered in that at all. Has Elena have ideas for body of what we're saying? Of course, she's an expert. She's helping us put together a grant that'll have all the I's dotted and have the right verbiage, how we want to explain what we're doing. But there was nothing wrong. None of the issues that you brought up that said that was wrong. And that's a fact. And if there's something wrong, if you see something wrong with that, if you're for the town, you'll say, we got something wrong here. We need to address this issue, just plain and simple. We need to address this issue. What can we do to fix it? If you're truly for the town, what can we do to fix this instead of trying to kill it? And that's exactly was the attempt. You're personally not in favor of that.
This roundtable, just pick on Councilman Zen. I think we've kind of crossed the appropriate of, you've made your point. So
Well, it was made very public. The last couple of meetings, I was personally attacked the meeting before. I've had it. I was personally attacked the meeting before. Said I was under the thumb of the mushroom farm because I rent them a house. I'm no more under the thumb of them than you haul their trash and do metal work with them. Is that, and you're saying appearances. I mean, holy moly. I'm tired of that stuff. Let's try to work towards the betterment of the town of Shoshoni. That's what I want to do.
we'll probably start with not attacking your members of your board.
No, hey, I've been attacked. I'm not fed up with this crap. And
Our agenda is.
I'm not taking.
You can discuss it around.
And that's exactly why we're talking about
It's not a
this.
discussion, it's tear them apart. If you want to talk about it in your office, do it absolutely. Why does the community need to listen to us bicker?
Well, that's my point. I've been attacked publicly right here, and why in the heck was not brought up in my office? It was not. So you've chosen to bring that up go after me in public in this meeting. So I'm responding in public. And I didn't say much then, but what happened with this grant pushed it over the edge. My door's open. My door's open to the public. I have many citizens come in. I've even called citizens in and asked them to come in. I've heard that you've got concerns about this. I went to citizens and talked to them. I try to run it open, but let's try. We don't have to like each other. We're not going to send each other Christmas cards. It's this. That's fine, but let's do the business of the town. What's best for the town of Shoshoni. I challenge you to do that. Come up with some ideas of your own. If you don't like mine, come up with some ideas of your own. Don't nail an idea because I'm supporting it. If I'm supporting $1 million project that we can get for free, just because you don't like me, don't vote against it. And that's fine. But let's.
I want to say one thing, because there's one thing that's been bothering me all week. So we had everything going on out here, trying to stop it. We did the grants wrong, so on and so forth. That was obviously proved false. everything was done correct. Okay, then when it comes up to a vote, and I'm gonna say it, Bob voted no. After he made the motion to buy the property, we've spent what, $135,000 on this project, and you're voting no. If you would have got more votes and that would have killed that project, then you would have been okay with just getting that $135,000 still and throwing it in the air, say sorry, town. After you made the motion to buy the property.
I thought this project was an economic development for the mushroom farm. Is it not?
That's a primary source, but it's an economic development for the whole
And a
town.
secondary item would be going to the town's property that we bought.
Yeah.
Now, when I asked Robert Hernandez, is that his name, I believe? Bobby, if the mushroom farm was going to tie directly into the sewer line, he said, I believe so. I asked him, and how are you using, what are you doing with water now? He said, lagoons, and we recycle it. So I don't see the mushroom plant using the sewer line at all.
Why would they get $50,000?
They are using the $50,000 to bring in sewer line for their housing, which in my mind, we should apply for a housing grant instead of an economic development grant.
So you're assuming they're not going to use it, so you want to kill the whole.
No, I'm saying we're using the wrong one. I'm simply saying.
But you don't know that. You're assuming. You're
No.
assuming.
Bobby,
There's a difference.
Bobby did state that what they have two, they have for the mushroom plant, they also have a lagoon, but they also have
Septic tanks,
a septic tank. Instead of a septic tank, they will use the sewer for their,
which is for culinary water
it's for their office and their plant,
and the 3 houses. Yes.
and for the plant.
No, plant goes back to the sewer lagoon.
No, not, you got their office and all that there. That's part of the plan. And, you know, they have plans for expansion also,
Okay.
which. But anyway, what I said, that's up to the Wyoming Business Council to decide if it's economic development or not. Correct? That isn't up for us.
That is correct.
And so if they don't, whatever reason and it's a very competitive grant. We may not get the grant. It's a very competitive grant. They only got so much money. And if our best foot forward isn't good enough, we won't get it. But there again, yeah. Don't know why try to kill it. You don't like the project. You don't think it's for economic development. You told Bobby that, and that's good, at least. But that could be opening that land up and mushroom farm advancing be a big benefit for the town of Shoshoni. In closing, let's do what's best for the town. Let's try to, we need growth. 471. If they come up with anywhere near that, how that's going to hurt the town. If we don't move forward and get more housing, get people living here, we're going to continue to go down.
It hurt our school too.
Could hurt our school. You know, it could lose our school. But, you know, I'd like to also say that, you know, the school is supporting us on our economic development and what we're moving forward. It helps them, helps us, helps everybody. We get more houses would help all the services in town would help the the solid waste people. It'll help the town, more water, more sewer. It's bring people down, good for the school. I mean, it's nothing but be a good thing. So I wanted to want us, instead of all this bickering that we do, I'm guilty of it too. I just did it. But darn it, we need to try to find a way to put our animosities against each other. Ron, we had a big run-in when we ran against each other in mayor, and we've had our discussions on things, and let's put that behind us. And I know you're very good at finding fault, and pretty smart guy, but let's try to work on this together, because I mean, quite frankly, we can be a pretty good team if we do it. I mean, reached out to Mike to his expertise in talking equipment. Was a big asset on helping us buy and pick out our equipment. I mean, we all got our expertise and do things. Let's work together. I'm getting frustrated because I work very hard for this community because I love it. What I'm doing is trying to do the best, but it's getting frustrated to have some of this stuff go on. So I'll shut the heck up and let's just try to.
Well, I could say if anybody comes up with an idea that moves the town forward, I jump all over it. I don't care who the heck does it.
I'm the same way.
I would be all over it. I'm just waiting. That's all I want. Someone to come up with an idea, I will jump all over and help out.
Anybody else, after I ran my mouth, want to comment? Kind of a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Item 16.
Been moved by Councilman Zant to adjourn, seconded by Councilman Demick.
Mr.
All-
Mayor,
Yes, any further
we still have
comment?
item 16 there.
Pardon?
Audience questions, item 16.
Oh, I didn't see it. Excuse me.
They're probably as tired as we are, so that might be real short.
Good catch.
Thank you, Ron.
Well, audience questions. Excuse me. I was trying to get out of here. Any questions for the audience, please?
I just want to know why Zen's against everything. He's for it, and then when it comes down to votes, he's always no.
For the housing, for the economic project?
Yeah.
I did not see it benefiting the mushroom plant where they produce mushrooms.
Why?
No,
They're
let me
willing to
finish.
build a store and everything.
See, please, can you come to the podium and sorry, but please.
In my
They're willing
mind,
to help this community, and you just cut them down all the time.
in my mind, that economic development should go to the plant. Housing is secondary. Their chapel is not economic development. Their
That's what it's all over.
church, okay,
It's all church.
no, I don't see that as economic development. Do you?
Well, I don't see your church doing anything for this town.
You're right. It's
Why
right.
is that? These people, I've seen them come into this town and help the community, help the kids. They give those kids Chromebooks.
Okay.
Has anybody else helped those kids? They bought those kids school clothes.
I didn't know that.
So
What
you
I'm
might get
saying is-
around in the community and you know that.
So what I'm saying is economic development should be strictly for the plant itself.
But I thought we were gonna build housing for the old folks out towards there too. In that area. That's why all that sewer was going out there.
That's secondary.
That's part of it. Yes, that's
It's
part
part
of
of it,
Yes,
but
it
it all
is.
reaches out there.
Yes.
Why it helps
So
the
what's
town.
wrong with that?
My feelings are they're doing it they're using the wrong application, the
Well,
wrong
they
grant.
found out they didn't.
No, I'm saying they should have used housing request, housing development grant, not an economic development grant.
So what it is you only want the housing and no mushroom farm involved.
No, I want I want strictly for the mushroom plant.
So no housing.
That's their problem.
No, but I mean for our town. You don't want no housing for the elderly people?
I didn't
Someday
say
you're
that.
gonna need to be in there.
I did not say that. I say the town used the wrong grant.
Well, it's just, you always are going for everything and then when it comes down to it, no, like 2 times later. Always.
And I studied, and I believe I was correct.
Never mind.
Any more questions from the audience? None being, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
We already had that motion.
Well, we didn't need to do it. It's
Okay.
been moved and
Okay.
Bo Weaver seconded.
Yeah, well, it was presented
Okay,
Mike Demick first, then we did audience questions. So
Right.
is that null and void then?
yeah, because I
Okay.
went out of sequence,
All
my
right.
fault.
So Ron's first, who's second? Got it. All right,
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Meeting closed. What time?
9 o'clock.
They were actually